Hello. So, I'm finally getting around to making the video that I asked on Instagram 2 months ago. Basically, it's just ask me questions about being a delivery driver. So, here are some of them. I didn't write some of them down, and I kind of lost the journal that I had written some down in. So I'm going to remember the best that I can. Okay. One of them was, have I ever been creeped out by a customer? Yes. Many, many times. Well, not many, many, many times, but, a few times. Have I ever been hit on? Yes. There were a few days that over the summer, whenever I was delivering, there was a person I delivered to, and he was like, "Damn, you sexy." And I'm like, "Thank you." And then he was like, "Are you single?" No. Oh, that's a shame. But good for your boyfriend, because he's got a nice piece. And I'm like, okay. I'm going back to my car now. Please don't order Panera again. I didn't actually say that last part, but yeah, no. Then, another time, there was a girl who would always order Panera. This was like 2 summers ago. But, she would always get down at the bottom of the stairs and be blushing at me and joke at me and comment on, like, "Wow, you're always the driver at night. This is pretty cool. You're my favorite driver," and stuff like that. So, you can decide if that's being hit on or not, but yeah. There was one time I went to a jewelry shop in the mall to deliver, and the guy, he just kept staring at me, like making eye contact with me, and it was very uncomfortable. To say the least, it was very uncomfortable. One time on my lunch break, I went over to Fazoli's because I wanted some pasta for lunch, and I go there every so often. Like, I consider myself kind of frequent. Like, I go there at least once a month, probably. And, the people inside kind of know me, and the cashier was like, "Hey, it's been a while. How have you been? How's Panera?" And I'm like, "It's been good. It's going good." And she's like, "Cool. Yep, just trying to get food on my lunch break." And she was like, "Okay, cool." And she made sure that my meal was on priority, and that was really sweet. And then a guy from the back who cooks the pasta and stuff, he came out and he was like, "Hey, they said they wanted me to give this to you. I don't know why I don't know. And then he sat it down, went back to the kitchen area. After I was done eating, the cashier lady came back. Well, she came to my table and was like, "Hey, are you in a relationship?" Whenever someone asks me, "Hey, are you?" I usually say no. And I thought she said, "Hey, are you single?" And that's why I said no. But, she asked, "Hey, are you in a relationship?" I said no. And then she was like, "Okay, well, that guy who brought your food out, he thinks you're really pretty and you're really sweet. So, I was wondering if I could get your number for him." And I was like, "Sorry, I'm only into girls." And she's like, "Really?" Yep. But tell him that from the few seconds, maybe a minute that I got to meet him, he was pretty cool, and he seems really nice, and he seems like he would be a good person. And she's like, "Alright, well, I'll go tell him that." I haven't been to Fazoli's since. Because I'm like, oh, what if that dude's upset? What if he accidentally found me on Facebook or something and then, like, got upset? So, those are the times that I've been hit on. Well, the only ones that I can remember anyway. I'm sure there's been other times. Weird occasions. I had to deliver to a low-income part of the town, and I don't exactly feel comfortable doing that because I know that this little part of town is, not rich, of course, not even close to rich. Most are on welfare, and, their houses and cars usually have broken windows, and I do know that there are robberies and drugs over there. So it's like, but I used to deliver to this one house quite frequently at night, and every time I would go over there, the guy would be like, "Who is it?" And then I'd say, "Panera." So he'd open the door and be like, "Alright." So I'd hand him the clipboard, he'd take it, shut the door, hand it back out to me, and he's like, "Hold on, let me grab your tip." So he walked away, and like a minute later he came back with 2 very crumpled up dollar bills and was like, "Here's your tip." And I'm like, "Thank you." I mean, it's still money, so I'm appreciative of it, but like, it smells like weed. Another time that was very weird was I delivered to my ex's mom at her work, and that was weird, because I haven't been to that church in a while, and yeah, she was like, "Hey, are you ever coming back to church?" And I'm like, "Have a nice day, bye." One of the apartments I delivered to, I gave the guy his order, and then he was going back up the stairs, but then I heard him run back down the stairs as I was already walking down the other set of stairs. So he chased me down the stairs and was like, hey, no, I should have got more food for this price. And I'm like, hold on, let me look at your receipt. So I pulled it up on my phone and I read him what he got and the price. And he was like, so I paid $12 for a sandwich. Yeah, that's ridiculous. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm sorry. And a $3 delivery fee. What made this occasion even weirder was this guy kind of looked like he would be a druggie. He was a white guy with really just, I haven't washed my hair in 3 weeks and it was, not very good smelling. Not that I smelled his hair directly, but, he also was wearing baggy pants that sagged, and it's like, okay. I mean, you are at home, but you met me in the hallway, so... And then, the weirdest thing was he had a wife beater tank top on that was white, and I'm like, I didn't like the looks of the guy, and then I definitely didn't like the guy whenever he chased me down the stairs. I've delivered to a few pregnant ladies who were waiting to have their baby. That was pretty cool. A little awkward though. I walked in on one and she was on one of those big exercise balls just moving back and forth. And I was like, of course I have to act natural and act like nothing's wrong. And just be like, hey, here's your food. And I hope you have a great day. Congratulations for the future, since you're in the baby department. And she's like, oh, thank you. Like a year and a half ago, it was shortly after I started working as a driver. There was an order that came through for South Ash Street. And I'm like, okay, I know where that is. So I went there, but there weren't any single-digit numbers. So I was very confused, and I called the person, and they were like, no, Golden Ash Street. I'm off Giant City Road, and I'm like, I don't think that's in our delivery zone. But I had to deliver it anyway. When I finally got to his house, I knocked on the trailer. He lived in a trailer park. And he said, come in. I can't get up. So I walked in. It smelled like something had died. And, this guy was really overweight. I looked around mainly just at his body because I'm like, oh, it smells so horrible in here. And then I looked at his foot and it was rotting. I was ready to just leave, just run out, be like, sorry. But, he was like, yeah, if you could just sit the food next to me right over here. And most of it was pastries. Which, I felt bad for the guy. Because, he probably has a sweet tooth. And then with his, his foot rotting off, he probably has bad circulation, heart problems, and diabetes. And since he ate more pastries that night, that only made the diabetes a little bit worse. And I'm like, oh man. And he had some cats at his house. But yeah, I went back and told my managers, and they typed in the address, and it was out of our delivery zone. But, yeah. And I've delivered to him once after that, because the same mess up happened. And I was still surprised that he was alive. I didn't look anywhere other than, here's food. Hands him the clipboard. Hands the clipboard back to me. Alright, have a nice day. And left. It still smelled like something had died in there. Another awkward situation was I was driving around looking for this place, and I couldn't find it. My GPS said East Elm Street, so I'm like, is there even an East Elm Street? I know there's a West Elm Street, but there's railroad tracks right in the middle. I've never heard of this East Elm Street. So my GPS was messing up, and whenever it did work, it showed me just an empty field, and it's like, I don't feel so safe about this. So I went back to the cafe, also because the guy wasn't answering his phone. And, whenever the next driver got there, that driver took that delivery, and everything was okay, I guess. So, it's like, oh, there is an East Elm Street. Didn't know that. There was a time whenever... Okay, so this one kind of made me mad. I delivered to a basketball team from another state that was staying in a hotel. They were just playing at the local university to, to do their champion face-off stuff. And they ordered 25 smoothies and 2 other things. 2 other smaller things. Like a bagel pack. And something else. So I'm like, okay, it won't be a problem. So I drove over there, well, the stoplight. Before I turned into there, they were working on it and the power was off to it, so it was just blinking. There's 3 lanes in the one that I'm in. No, 2 lanes in the one that I'm in. 2 lanes in the one that would be coming towards me. And then 1 lane across, 1 lane across. So there was 2, 4, 6 different lanes of cars. So I was a little bit nervous about that. Especially, since people don't tend to stop at stop signs sometimes. But I got there, it was fine. I unloaded everything. I gave someone the clipboard and they signed it and they didn't leave a tip. They spent almost $100 on smoothies. And they couldn't even give a dollar tip or anything. Like, okay, I understand that you don't have to tip, and I don't expect you to, but whenever it's that big of an order and it takes 30 minutes basically to prepare all of the smoothies, just blending them alone, it's kind of frustrating. I have so many more stories that I could tell. There are ones that I've been on catering for, which isn't technically my responsibility. It's the catering coordinator. But I've got those stories. I've got stories that have reminded me of trauma. Like, I'd just be walking around and then I'd notice something and be like, and I'd disassociate and just, I wouldn't feel like I was alive. I was just, I felt gray in a whole colorful world. I also have stories about what I do whenever I'm not delivering, and some of my co-workers and stuff like that. But for now, since this video is almost 24 minutes long, I'm gonna say bye. And I do enjoy talking about my job. It's fun. Thank you for asking me some questions, even though I think I only answered like 2. But I told a lot of stories. So I hope that counts. Okay. Bye!